Happy New Year, everybody, and welcome to a brand new installment of Nintendo News Report, the live show made primarily for our Nintendo World Report TV YouTube channel. During the show, we discuss recent Nintendo news as well as this week's new releases and more. I'm your host, Alexander Kalafi, and I'm joined by site director Neal Ronahan.
Hi, everybody, and I have a friend, as I seem to have had a figure on every week. This one is this really awkward-looking Skyward Sword Zelda that if you can see, I will tilt him to the side. And he's like hanging to the right a bit with a sword.
Wow.
I don't know, contrast on my face.
Also, you just called Link Zelda, just so you know.
It's
been a very long day. I drank a lot on New Year's Eve.
So this whole podcast, this whole show has become invalidated. So.
Do you guys have any of those Metroid figures of the Metroid? No, but this is I don't know. There's like the little like the gachapon things. I found this at a GameStop. I also got a young Link that he has a little the slingshot. And he's shooting shit. And he's got his boy shorts on. So that's my shit.
The other voice you are hearing is Connectivity Podcast editor Scott Thompson. Hello, Scott.
How many toys today? Sorry.
Alright, so, as anyone who has watched before knows, our general format is to do a top story at the top of the show, followed by new releases and news, but since this is our third week in a row where there are no news stories big enough to be put in our top story discussion, I'm thinking the way I'm going to do this going forward is to call what's at the top of the show either our feature topic or top story, because, let's be real, it is January, and there ain't going to be huge news until the next Nintendo Direct. So this week, in place of a top story and in celebration of entering a new year, Neal, Scott, and I are going to discuss our individual top 3 Nintendo games of 2014.
Okay, before we get to that, when do we all think the next Nintendo Direct is going to happen?
Late January. Late January.
Can I get a week?
The week that's not the last week of January, that's moving into
like February. The 19th. Monday the 19th, that
early
week.
20s. That's what I'm going for.
I'm gonna say the week of January 12th. We are going to have something of Nintendo Direct-like substance.
I know why you're saying that, and I won't say
in that case,
I think you might be right. It's because I just thought back.
Well, that doesn't leave me much to go with then.
Okay. Will you go late January then? The last week?
The week of the 26th.
Or this upcoming
Well, by default, I feel like I have to.
Yeah, it's not going to be.
It won't be this upcoming week.
I mean, it could be, but I wouldn't put my money there.
Right. Okay.
No, so I'll have to go with the week of the 26th.
All right, so it's we usually do this purely for connectivity, but we thought it would be a good idea to try something a little different and do it live on video. And just getting right into it, we are going to go around Scott, Neal, me, counting down from our third favorite all the way to second and first, followed by a round of honorable mentions. So let's get started. Scott, what is your third favorite Nintendo game of 2014?
Okay, so I'm first.
Yes, you are first.
I'm first. Okay. So number 3 has to be Mario Kart 8. I was kind of surprised at how much I really.
That seems pretty high.
Yeah, it is like the worst game of all time, according to reviews. No, I was impressed by how good it was and how much it really pulled me back into Mario Kart. Like, I don't know that I've really like. I mean, Double Dash was kind of there, but that was also the point where it wasn't quite as easy for me to play. I don't think I had a lot of friends who had a GameCube, so that required me bringing a GameCube over. But it did have some really good ideas. But this is probably the first one in a while that's like really sucked me in and kept me interested. What really helps is just like the stellar online play. Not to mention the ability to pretty much play everything, split screen with my wife. So whether we're going through and getting all the cups and unlocking all the racers and different parts, or just going online and like playing online with everyone, it just worked really well. And that's only become better like in the past month with all the DLC. Like the extra stages are insanely awesome.
Yeah,
everyone freaks out.
The Zelda and the F-Zero stage are like, I can't believe that they exist. They're that damn cool. And the online of this game is so good. It runs very, very well.
Yeah, it's a beautiful game, and I like too how those stages kind of change things up. Like I love that the F-Zero one you go through like the shield refill to get your coins, and then you've got rupees instead of coins in the Zelda stage. That's all very
Yeah.
neat.
I wish they had
My
those
personal
kind of
favorite.
mechanic changes in the actual game, but
Mhm.
I'll shut up.
No,
um,
he's right. There are the series could have moved forward, but I think the series also makes strong points in its level design because it feels like year two of the Mario Kart 7 editions with the flying in the air and the swimming. So it feels
Yeah.
like they improved that and put more of that in levels, in addition to the figure eight stuff, or excuse me, the anti grav, and then in addition to the just more ways to go through the tracks. There's a lot of like secret passages, and it feels like this is the strongest the level selection has been in the series, like the track design specifically. So it's true there aren't a ton of
yeah,
changes, like there are a lot of minor ones, but I think it makes up for it gameplay wise in a few other ways.
yeah, for sure. And to me, if anything, the DLC is kind of like maybe them sort of stepping out of the comfort zone for like what a Mario Kart game can be. And I think when they see the
Totally.
feedback to that, how much people enjoy like these sort of change ups to the general structure, then I think we'll see in Mario Kart 9, whether that's on 4DS or Wii U 2 or the iPhone. I think we'll see some like real like great design and some real interesting implementations of like new ideas there. So either way, Mario Kart 8, very very good. So
Cool.
am I going to two now, or are we going to round for all our threes? How does this work?
We're doing 3, 2, 1. So Neal is next. What is your number 3 Nintendo game of the year?
My number 3 is Super Smash Brothers for Wii U.
What?
For a lot of the same reasons as Scott was kind of rattling off Mario Kart. The online, I've had so much fun with that. Whether I'm playing with random people or friends or NWR readers, what have you, I just have a great time. Especially the one time that I did one that the only item was S flags with a couple readers. That was amazing. And then just the breadth of everything in that game is so much fun. And I mean, it's Smash Brothers. It's like you kind of it is what we all wanted when we were like, oh, there's going to be a new Smash Brothers game. There's all these new characters. They're tons of fun. Smash Tour sucks, but other than that, all the content's in it's a lot of fun. I love the events. The Master Orders are great. The Crazy Orders get really, really hard, and if you are kind of into that where you're like, oh, the events are too easy, well, go try some Crazy Orders. And it's a lot of similar design ideas that are just really, really well done. And then I guess the last thing with that, and the reason why I'm playing it more now than I am the 3DS version, I really like Amiibo. Like I don't think the usage in that is totally compelling, but I think that I have a lot of fun with it because it's like I'll sit down and be like, well, I want to play some. I don't really want to go online. I'll just fight these Amiibo characters and see what happens. And I've developed some rivalries with inanimate objects, which makes me question reality. That my Link is an asshole.
I just imagine like you have your collection of Amiibo, and then that Link is just like in a drawer somewhere in another room. Like, you can't even look at it. Like that's how deep the rivalry runs.
Pikachu pinned down. And I'm like, no, Link, Pikachu. Or like he has the villager pinned down. I'm like, no, Link, I'm never gonna find another villager. Back away. But yeah, Smash Brothers Wii U is amazing.
I was thinking about it the other day, and I bet the Amiibo use in Smash Bros. For Wii U would be really great if I was like in elementary school or middle school still, and like I could like bring them. I don't know if I was like trading with friends, but then again, when I was little, I probably traded games and shit all the time, stupidly. But like being at competition locally with like. Exactly, yeah. But going over to a friend's house and being like having your Amiibo that you've trained fight like your Amiibo or like on team, different things like that where it's like every week you kind of bring a new Amiibo to the table with a new setup and just see how it goes. Like that works. It's kind of a bummer you can't really do that online. Like I can't fight your Link, Neal, because that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, no, that would be awesome. I mean, we can do that at PAX East, so that could be a good time. We'll have to bring all our Amiibo to Boston.
Do you think you could go on an airplane, or do you think?
I don't know. I mean, I could try that. I'm going to Colorado tomorrow, so I can just bring an Amiibo and see what happens.
Yeah,
I
keep an
come back
amiibo
with
in
the
your
amiibo,
pocket.
like
Preferably.
my Link amiibo's got like a gram of weed as we're coming back from Colorado, and I'm like, no, Link, you can't do that. It's not legal in Jersey. This is a terrible idea.
Yeah, the amiibo is super good. Now I would describe it almost as underrated, at least from when they initially told us what the amiibo was going to be like.
Yeah, I mean, you can basically track, like, I've written several, I think at this point, at least a half dozen articles about Amiibo and Smash Brothers since it was announced back in June. And my first one was like, this is dumb. And then by like September, after I think they showed a little bit more of it, I was kind of like, you know what, this is kind of dumb, but it could be a very good time. And it wound up kind of being like the best possible situation, I think, because the figures do look cool, and that's why everyone's going nuts over collecting them. But I know that there's a few people, I'm not the only one, that I really do honestly enjoy using them in the game.
Yeah, it's super fun in Smash Mode, and I actually think that even though I'm playing by myself locally, Smash Mode in Wii U is probably my most played mode, partially the result of training my amiibos and fighting against my
Oh
amiibos.
yeah.
Hmm.
And I've even had it where like I had like one friend was over and we were sitting down and play some Smash. And I mean I'm whenever I play Smash I'm not super competitive about it. So like one-on-one fights sometimes are like eh. So we wanted to throw two other people, and instead of throwing in two computer players, it's like, all right, let's put in Killager and Wolf. That's what I named my Fox McCloud amiibo because that seemed accurate to do because there's a wolf costume for him. Um, and then we fought with them, and it was great.
Yeah. Moving on to my number 3, I chose Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze for the Wii U, the February release, which is a very good sequel to, in my opinion, one of the greatest platformers of all time. And I think the reason why I like Tropical Freeze so much is that I said this a lot last year when I was going over Pikmin 3 and Animal Crossing New Leaf, but it does a really good job of being a Nintendo sequel that iterates enough while still maintaining what's great about the original. Like, it's still Donkey Kong Country Returns. It still has the exact same physics I love. It still has the secret-laden level design I love. And it still has the challenge I love. But in addition to that, they made the game slightly harder. They made more secrets. They made, I think, more levels, but at least a comparable amount of levels. They made the game look amazing. They gave it an incredible soundtrack. And
Yeah, the David Wise stuff is so good.
it's one of the only soundtracks I actually have in my iTunes right now. And granted, I'm sure, but it's that and like Persona 4. But it's one of the best ones I've heard probably ever in a soundtrack in a game. So
I
that's
think it's the
excellent.
best Donkey Kong Country soundtrack, bar none.
I agree. I agree with that. And then also, Cranky Kong and Dixie Kong are fantastic additions as playable partners. Specifically Dixie Kong because Cranky Kong did feel a little underutilized in the final game.
Yeah,
But
Dixie Kong is OP. Like that is the partner to have. From what I remember about that game, I haven't touched it since the end of February.
I think I still prefer Donkey Kong Country Returns because I don't think we needed another one of these in the first place, and after this, I don't really think we need another Donkey Kong Returns game ever again, or at least for the next 5 or 10 years. Like, maybe give it to Monster Games and let them pull a Luigi's Mansion in 5 or 6 years. But if these are the only 2 games we get in this series forever, I'm okay with that. I'm okay if this is just leaving it be as is. So, fantastic game.
Cool.
Number 2! Scott, what is your number 2 Nintendo Game of the Year?
Interestingly enough, it is Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze.
That's why you were quiet.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much for all the same reasons you said. I think it takes what Returns did and really like ran with it. Returns was great, and to me, it's kind of similar to like the new Super Mario Brothers series, where it's like new Super Mario Brothers came out on DS, and you're like, okay, like this is fun. I like that it's sort of a throwback, but it felt like there was more that could be done with it. And it to me felt the same way with Returns, and the Tropical Freeze was like that was like the realization of all like the potential for bringing back Donkey Kong. Like you said, having Dixie there and Cranky there was great. I played the whole thing through with my wife, so I really enjoyed the multiplayer, and same with Returns.
I'm kind of curious because to co-op with that, and like, I really enjoyed both Returns and Tropical Freeze, although I still haven't finished Tropical Freeze. There's something, the same thing happened for me that happened same thing happened for me in Tropical Freeze is what happened to me with Returns, which was I'm like, this is incredible, and I get 4 worlds in and just don't play it anymore for some I don't know why. And then Returns I actually didn't beat until the 3DS remake, and I loved it. It's a fantastic game, and that's kind of what I felt about Tropical Freeze. But the one thing that I noticed with both of those games is that the co-op always seemed really hard to manage, especially as you get to like the really, really hard stuff. Now, I'm just kind of curious, is that just like you and your wife are of a similar skill level? Like, did you have any issues with the co-op?
No, not at all. I mean, there's definitely moments where it's like strict platforming, like those moments where you're having to jump from platform to platform, and they're basically falling apart after you touch them, right? So there's no real time to like coordinate. So in those situations, it worked best to have her character jump on Donkey Kong's back, and then I would kind of get us through that.
Have that mechanic in the game.
Yes. Oh yeah, for sure. But no, I'd say like 95% of the game we played through, not like that. With both of us was managing our characters and everything. And what I was going to say that I like about it, I think it kind of helps alleviate that issue if you don't have like even skilled players, is that really Diddy and Dixie kind of are like easier to play because they're more forgiving because you've got the jetpack and the hair spin. So
the hair spin. Yeah, I love that hair spin.
Yeah, so like that helps like correct jumps. It gives you a little bit more time to make decisions and like land in the right spaces and stuff like that. So I thought that worked really well for playing with my wife. Because that helped her in situations where as Donkey Kong she might have otherwise died. So no, we didn't have any issue. I mean, we completely beat it, 100%ed it, and all that good stuff. So yeah, it was a blast. And the soundtrack seriously is just so amazing.
Good. I think
it's so good.
Tomorrow at work, I might just listen to that soundtrack all day. I did
it's
it
so good.
months ago because just someone like say, "Hey, remember when David Wise did that soundtrack?" I'm like, "Yes, I do." I'm gonna listen to it again.
It's great. Like that was the one thing that was missing from Returns. It was like the music was okay in Returns, but it didn't even really like bring back any classics or build on any of sort of that classic Donkey Kong country music. But Tropical Freeze for sure does that. I mean, it brings so much back and just sounds so great.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is my number 2 game.
Excellent. Neal, what is your number 2 game?
My number 2 game is on the 3DS. It's a little game called Fantasy Life. I guess it's kind of almost like where to begin with Fantasy Life. It's a single player MMO that is kind of Dragon Questy. I think that might be the best elevator pitch for that game. And I kind of was worried when I first started playing that game because the idea sounded really fun because it's like you have these 12 different they call them life classes. They're not jobs necessarily. And it's like you could be a cook, you could be a tailor, you could be a paladin, you could be a ranger and fire a bow. You could be all these different classes that all kind of do different things where one of them and a lot of them aren't even combat focused. There's ones that it's like, oh, go chop down trees or go make swords. And just kind of all of that working together, and the fact that you can, after you get through the intro area, which takes a really, really long time, you can just take on any class and then go at your own pace. And then the world, there's just so much to do because you have a main storyline that is a little long in the tooth. Like there's oddly not a lot of combat, and it's kind of almost to a really funny degree because you're going through this main story and it's like, all right, we gotta go and fight like the Dark Lord and we gotta kill him, and you get there and it's just like the Dark Lord's like, I was just in a prank war with the king. Like, we're cool. Like, there's nothing big there. And that happens constantly throughout the game, which I just love because you keep on getting these points where you're like, all right, we're going to get into this boss fight. It's going to be ridiculous. I got to fight a dragon. And then it's like, the dragon doesn't want to hurt you. You, like, just help it, its babies not be possessed by this dark crystal. And then everything's cool. You can get a horse. You can get cats. That's pretty fun. You can get different houses. You can grind endlessly. There's never nothing to do in that game. I haven't even gotten to the DLC, and I've already put like 80 hours into it. And I'm kind of scared about the DLC because there's probably a reality in which I stop doing anything with Nintendo Report and I just play Fantasy Life. That might be the darkest timeline or the happiest timeline because I really like Fantasy Life. Have either of you guys played this game?
I want to buy it so bad. It's well, not so bad. Otherwise, I would have bought it by now. But it's. I think you're starting. I think you're starting to push me over the edge because I'm hearing like super addicting. I'm hearing some people use whispers of Animal Crossing, and
It
then
definitely
you're
has
just
an
so
Animal
excited.
Crossing feel to it, but it's a little bit more like the Animal Crossing aspects aren't as integral to the overall game. It's kind of just there.
Right.
Like, because you can get all this shit for your house. And you have, I think in the main game you can have 3 houses. In the DLC, I think they add 2 more. Um, so you have, like, your main home, and, like, there's different houses you can buy, and then you have, like, a summer home in the beach town and stuff like that. And you can decorate those all you want, but I don't really think there's anything in game that it's like, you getting graded for how you decorated your house. It's just like, I don't know, you won this wall scroll. You can put it next to your bed. Like,
But do you get the same Animal Crossing feeling of even if no one's judging you, you kind of get excited about designing your house?
Totally, yeah.
Okay, cool. I think I'll probably get it in the next couple weeks if the financial situation seems right and I find a physical copy somewhere. I'll probably buy that before I end up getting Bayonetta 2, which is the other game I want to pick up at some point.
Yeah. I mean,
Excellent.
I just like, and then I also have on like the kind of, I guess, serious sad note is that so I reviewed Fantasy Life and I played through and I probably put like 20, 30 hours into the review and I really enjoyed it. And then shortly after the review went up, my grandfather passed away. And then I kind of just dove into this game even more and found a lot of solace in it just because it was the stuff where there was a lot of repetition in it. And it just kind of was a nice escape from the crap that was going on following my grandfather's death. So, like, Fantasy Life also goes for me on that level as well, in addition to being this amazing game. It also kind of helped me through a rough time.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
It seems like
it's real talk.
It is real talk, but it also seems like addicting. Like, I don't know if this is day to day, but this kind of addicting RPG gameplay is perfectly suited to when you just need to put your mind on one thing and focus on it and just not worry about anything else that's going on, or at least take a pause from that for a little while.
Yeah, and I mean, because of its design too, like, I did actually at a certain point I kind of had to go like cold turkey from it because I think I probably put like 10 hours into it, like in the span of like 3 days. Like every 3 days would be another 10 hours. Like, it was absurd. And then I kind of went cold turkey. But even still, every now and then I'll be like, you know what, I'm gonna do a little. I think I can pick it up, play it for 20 minutes, feel satisfied, put it down, come back to it a week later, play for a half an hour, feel satisfied, and I really like that. Like, it's a game that I'm gonna keep on going to because of comfort, because of fun.
Sure. Excellent. So my number 2 Nintendo Game of the Year, I'm very happy that you brought up Fantasy Life because mine is the other non-Animal Crossing but kind of addicting like Animal Crossing game that came out this year, Disney Magical World on 3DS. A game I barely talked about.
Wow.
I cracked probably 36, 37 hours into that in like the span of a week. It's because here's what this game is. This game is a little bit of Animal Crossing, a lot of super addictive light RPG stuff. It's like in the realm of Kingdom Hearts, and there's a lot of like action RPG, and then there's a lot of Animal Crossing, a lot of dressing yourself up, a lot of designing everything you like, everything you want. And then it packages it around an absolute love for Disney. And like all of that Disney magic you love feeling when you go
to buy this game.
When you go to Disney World, and all that Disney magic you feel, that's almost like Nintendo magic, but a little bit more kid-friendly, but no less magical. This game, it just touched my heart in all the right ways. And it's like Fantasy Life. Like Fantasy Life, it is super addicting and repetitive, but like in that good, like, fuck, I need to play more kind of way.
Yeah, where you're like, man, if only I could make that souffle, then I'd really get a leg up in life.
So, Neal, do you want to make a pact, then, that sometime in the next several weeks you'll buy Disney Magical World and I will buy Fantasy Life?
It's a very real possibility. I had some GameStop gift cards that I got for Christmas, and I bought some eShop cards because I went in there being like, maybe I'll actually buy a physical game, and then I just walked out with that dumb Zelda thing that I showed you all earlier, and and then two $10 eShop gift cards. So I was going to put that onto my 3DS and buy some stuff because I'm going on a plane tomorrow. And maybe I'll end up buying Magical World.
That's good.
I don't know.
I hope one day in the future we can share.
Yeah, I mean, it'll probably happen eventually. It's one of those things where it's like I'm kind of stubbornly holding out for a sale that might never come.
It never will. It's because it's
Yeah.
Nintendo published. And granted,
Yeah.
that's no excuse. Some games drop to 20, but you can tell Nintendo did a good thing by publishing this because it was originally a Japanese-only release by Namco Bandai, I think.
Yeah.
And
And I think
yeah,
Nintendo might have had a hand in Japan, but I'm not sure.
but
But either way, I'm
it
glad
has
it
that
came
level
out
of
because
polish.
I've heard so many. You're not the only person that I've heard good things about this game from. Like it's something that's kind of been on my radar because I have a feeling I'd enjoy it. I'm not super Disney crazy, but I like Disney enough that like I suffered through the bullshit of Kingdom Hearts and kind of still came away enjoying those games.
Yeah, this was definitely my last minute game of the year shift because I had a different pick earlier today that we're going to talk about in the honorable mentions. But I was looking at my rack of 3DS and Wii U games, and I was like, you know what? I have nothing bad to say about this game. There are no caveats at all with this. This was a really, really good experience. So, only a couple hours before actually recording this, Disney Magical World made its well-earned Shrek to the number 2 spot. Moving on to the number 1 Nintendo Game of the Year, Scott.
Number 1.
Tell me what won.
So for me, we've already talked about it. It's of course Super Smash Brothers for Wii U.
I had a feeling.
Yeah, it's too good to not be number 1. It's so polished and like you said, Neil, with what I was talking about with Mario Kart, the realization of the online mode to me just like cements this as just being completely great. Because that was the biggest worry, right?
Now, we haven't even played online, have we?
You and I don't think so. No,
I think that's a testament to how good the online is. That we both had separate experiences.
Yeah, because there's. Yeah. I've played with Zach some. I play with Travis, who listens to the show and stuff a lot, and things like that. But yeah, it's really fantastic. And what I really love about it is, for me, Brawl kind of
lost Scott.
The fell apart because the online didn't work and I didn't really have anyone to play with in single player wise. But with this game, like, there's a ton to do, either playing online like nonstop or doing a lot of single player stuff, or playing cooperatively with my wife, which is great. Like, not just against computers, but all the different modes that you can play together.
Yeah, no, it's awesome that all that
on the couch. Yeah. So it really works for me. There's so much love in this game. I love all the music, all the care that was put into it. Like, you could tell Sakurai, like, this was like a labor of love for him, and it really showed.
I mean, he's basically been making labors of love with Smash Brothers for 10 years, at least.
But
this one, I mean, yeah, this is a special game. I think it's the best in the series. Not by far, because Melee is pretty incredible. But this I think it bests Melee in ways that Brawl never did.
Yep, agreed.
Neal, what is your number 1?
I think mine might be a little obvious. It's Shovel Knight on Wii U and 3DS. I think, I mean, Scott, you talking about Smash Brothers Wii U and how that was your number 1 kind of made me thinking about, like, wow, I love Smash Brothers Wii U, but how did it get pushed down to number 3 on my list? And as I've talked about with Fantasy Life and also with Shovel Knight, is that Smash Brothers does not have the emotional draw that both Shovel Knight and Fantasy Life had for me. I think both Fantasy Life and Shovel Knight are 2 of my most memorable gaming experiences, not just of 2014, but in probably the past 5 years. Shovel Knight just nails that retro aesthetic without being like slavish to it in ways that some other like retro themed games have done. Like, Shovel Knight feels like a very, very modern game in this retro clothing. And I think that's why it works so well. And it also helps that, it kind of calls to mind like everything that I grew up playing. Whether it's, Super Mario Brothers 3 or Zelda 2 or Mega Man. Just all these different games that I have played, maybe not enjoyed all of them, but I have that base going into it. And then the music, also incredible. And the one thing that I think surprised me when I played it, because I played demos of it before it came out, expecting to enjoy it based on how it felt, is that the story actually really works well. It's very simple, but it's just told in a way that's very effective. And not to spoil the ending of that game, but it just kind of builds to this point where the story comes to a conclusion, and then the gameplay kind of reflects that conclusion in a way that I don't really see in games too often, especially 2D platformers.
And it says something. It says something that this is a game that you can spoil, and that you're afraid of spoiling.
Yeah, I mean it's like if you play the game, you could probably guess the ending, but the way that they do it is just like, yeah, I get it. And it's like, I mean, by the time I hit the end credits, like, it was the kind of thing where I'm playing it late at night on my 3DS, getting to the end, and I'm like, all right, I got to push through. I'm very close. And then I got to the end, and it was just like, at the end of it, I, had the single tear and was just like, wow, like, I didn't expect that to happen. Like, I love this game in ways that I didn't think I would. And I expected going in, like, I backed the damn game on Kickstarter. I expected going in there, I'm like, I'm gonna really enjoy this game, and it blew away my already really high expectations for it.
It's just so smartly designed, I would say.
Yeah.
It's because it's as good.
I can't wait to see everything else that these guys do. I think I made the comment after I finished it that I don't want to play any more video games because after Shovel Knight, every other video game is bullshit. And after going back to play, I played a couple of levels of Shovel Knight. When we first started doing our Game of the Year stuff for the site, and then I played it. I'm like, that was a mistake, because now I don't want to play any other video games, because this is what I want. I just want this game over and over again.
Well, like with a lot of independent games, one of the biggest problems is that they're trying so hard to ape a lot of the classics from the past, but it's clear that unfortunately the people making it they're not Miyamoto. They're not. They didn't make Mega Man. And I'm not saying this is as good as Mario 3 or the Mega Man games, but like just in general, this game can stick with the best of that era. Like, it's that good. And it's like, and then it's just so smart how it has that classic, addicting, modern, challenging design, but then it adds modern stuff too, like an actual plot you care about. And then like I was playing it today.
You know what, man? Ninja Gaiden had a plot that I cared about. He got shot by the girl, and then they're in love. Like, then they fight a demon.
Sure. But then I was actually playing.
You know what's really funny? The story in Ninja Gaiden, I believe, was that was like the first thing that the dude who did the story for Chrono Trigger worked on.
Wow,
that's amazing.
Just random aside, like when I found that out, I was like, oh, this kind of makes a lot of sense. He was trying to do stuff, and then he actually succeeded later in life.
Yeah.
I was playing it today though, and just one thing that blows me away, and it's such a small thing, is and I've said it before on the podcast we did that was like 55 minutes long.
Yeah, because it was basically me, Scott, or no, it was me, Andy, and Zach just basically jerking off to Shovel Knight for an hour.
And it's one thing that super impresses me and even blows me away is the fact that they take inspiration from games like Dark Souls. The fact that when you die, you don't lose a life, you drop your treasure, and you have to get back to where you went to pick it up, or else you lose it forever. Like, it takes a lot of inspiration from modern games, too, and I think the game ends up being way better because of it.
Definitely.
Excellent game. My number one...
Let's go to your number one.
My number one is a game where you can battle monsters in your pocket, and... It follows a game. It follows a game widely considered one of the worst in the series. My number one game of the year for Nintendo is Super Smash Bros. For Wii U and 3DS. It was.
Touché.
I thought about this like 5 hours ago, and I'm like, I'm totally gonna throw him a bamboozle, and I did. You
want to know something funny? I actually almost bought Omega Ruby or Alpha Sapphire today, and then did not, because I'm like, nah, there are other games I'd rather play.
Well, we'll talk about this when we get to the honorable mentions.
Oh, I imagine. I knew that would crack your top 5 at a minimum.
It did. Smash Bros. Wii U and 3DS. I put them together because I like both of them. I like the way the 3DS version looks a little more because I like the 3D and I like the way it pops, but the Wii U is obviously it's a better game. I have problems with this game. Like, I think it has a content issue. I think it needs a little more content, and then I think that there are some ways that the content could have been better organized. I hate how, like, 90% of the content is locked behind this tiny screen. Like, I have problems with the front end.
The menu in Smash Brothers Wii U and 3DS is so un-Sakurai to me because like Kid Icarus and Melee and Brawl and even Kirby Air Ride have these like amazing menus that just make so much sense, and then you go to Smash Brothers Wii U and 3DS and you're like, how the hell do I go play Classic mode?
And it's 100% true. So I have problems with that. But you're wondering why I would put this at the top of my game of the year if I'm already shitting on it. It's because the characters and the gameplay is the best Smash Bros. Has ever been, and I would argue maybe by far. I would say this is better than Melee substantially, because I think it finds a balance between having that super tight gameplay and then the more accepting Brawl gameplay. I think it finds a really good balance between those.
Totally.
And the characters, there are more insanely unique characters in this game than there have ever been in the past. It's and like you got Villager, who controls nothing like a Smash character has before. Like especially when you got things like his tree move and how his side smash is this bowling ball that drops, and then how he can pick stuff up. Like the way you do Animal Crossing.
I was playing Smash Brothers with people who have not played Smash Brothers, the new Smash Brothers before. And we're playing, and like they're playing like the guys they used to be really good at in Melee. Like one dude's Sheik, one guy's like Zelda, and one guy's Link and stuff. And like it's the people that they've been playing with for 10 years. And I stroll in with Villager and just totally destroy them by dropping trees, hitting them with bowling balls, flying on that dumb gyroid thing through the air. Villager's the best character of 2014 for me.
I think so. Yeah.
Like it was a revelation how much fun it was to play as him in Smash Brothers.
And then you got characters like Little Mac, who have this insane gimmick where they are among the strongest characters in the game, and he could very well be the strongest character in the game, but at the same time, he has horrific air game. His air game is atrocious, but just that all or nothing, like just ramming into battle and just total...
And landing that damn punch is so good.
that fucking KO. It feels amazing to play as Little Mac. It feels amazing to play as Villager. And then you have all these characters. They got 52 in the game, which is amazing. Yeah. You got more clones than ever before, but that's a result of having more. It's amazing gameplay. And even though I only played by myself, I cracked over 50 hours between both versions. So just playing by myself and being in that game, it's one of the most played games of this year, and that's fantastic. I would even argue that if there's never another Smash Bros. Game again, I would probably be okay. It seems like, and I hope there's another Smash Bros. Game where they have 65 characters and they're all secret and none of them are spoiled. That's a fantastic dream. Ridley, all that, fantastic. But what they have here, the 50 characters they have, I think they've put Smash at a good point if the series was to, for some reason, die right now. We could play this for the next decade and still be completely content.
I mean, that's kind of what I did with Melee.
Exactly, because Brawl was a total bust. Yeah, so there could really never be another Smash Bros. Game, and I would be okay with it. Really fantastic. So, let's move on to our honorable mentions. Scott, what was your honorable mention or two? And we should be relatively quick because we still got downloads and news to cover after this.
Yeah, and in fact, go ahead and skip past me. I didn't make a list of it. I had some ideas in my head, but I'm not going to waste any time talking about games that weren't my top three. So
I'm going to mention my what is very solidly my number 4 is Theater Rhythm Final Fantasy Curtain Call. If you really like the original, this is the original on crack on steroids, and now you can download a Chrono Trigger song in it. It's the best. I love Final Fantasy Curtain Call. I can't wait for Theater Rhythm Dragon Quest. And then what's kind of been duking it out for my number 5 spot, Smash 3DS, for a lot of the reasons that have already been talked about. Captain Toad Treasure Tracker is a really special game. And it's something that I'm still not all the way done with, but I've been loving it so much. And Kirby Triple Deluxe, I think, is one of the best Kirby games ever made, and I didn't even really expect it to be that good. And I just started playing it, and it's basically what I wanted, like New Super Mario Bros. 2 and every other 3DS Nintendo-made platformer. Like Kirby Triple Deluxe is what I wanted when I first heard that, there's going to be a 3DS. I'm like, they could do some cool stuff with 2D platformers, and that's what Kirby Triple Deluxe does. Yeah, those are my honorable mentions.
Excellent. Honorable mentions, Shovel Knight's up there. It's great. We already talked about it. Mario Kart 8. I just want to call out the fact that I hated this game before I even played it, and then by the time I actually did finally play it and did finally experience it after getting it on a Black Friday sale, I ended up growing to really like the game, and I think I put it at like my number 10 overall multi-platform game of the year. Like that's really good. Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. I won't be too long with that. You can hear the podcast I did with Sarah B and Brian Rose with it. You can see the articles I wrote. It's a really great remake in a lot of ways, and it modernizes the concept and it fixes a lot of the problems I have with X and Y. I forgot the game in the last month. I almost completely forgot the game, but I could still remember Disney Magical World, a game I bought and played through in April. And I think the reason for this is that the difficulty is so ridiculously low in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire that it was just hard to remember because I wasn't having the same challenge that I was when I was playing the original Ruby and Sapphire. And that could be because I was younger and Pokemon was naturally more challenging, but like this is widely agreed upon by a lot of people that the difficulty in these new remakes is kind of pathetic.
I will be completely honest. That's kind of the same way that I feel about Pokemon X and Y a year later. Like I enjoyed that game. I beat that game, and I was talking to someone, and I was talking to a friend of mine who hadn't beaten it, and he was like, "Oh, I'm at this part," and I'm like, "What the hell is that?" Like I just don't remember specifics about that game, and it's not that I didn't enjoy it. Like Haluch is amazing, but other than that, it's just like I was going through the motions with that game, and I don't remember having that feeling when playing Heart Gold and Soul Silver and Diamond and Pearl. Like those are games that I can still think back to and be like, oh man, like fighting the Elite Four, Diamond and Pearl, that was a bitch. Heart Gold and Heart Gold and Soul Silver, playing that and going through that, having the dumb Poke Walker, like I had a ball with that game, and I remember a lot of that. X and Y, Halucha. That's all I can think of.
Yeah, and I think the biggest problem is that I think since X and Y, and maybe since Black 2 and White 2, Pokemon has felt like it's been made by committee, and it probably is now.
It's a yearly game, too.
It doesn't feel like it has the same heart it used to, and again, it could be because I'm older, but like you look at the original Red, Blue, Yellow, Silver, Gold, and even Ruby and Sapphire, and like those games are a little screwed up on a technical level. Like there's some slightly unfinished areas. There's stuff that you have to look up to see where it went because there's just an empty cave with no item or Pokemon inside of it. And then, but it has this heart to it, and this one just feels too clean, too polished, and then has shit like the EXP share, which makes the game way too easy. But I digress. Let's move on to Nintendo downloads this week. And there are a few related to Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Pokemon Pinball Ruby and Sapphire. Game Boy Advance came out on the Wii U Virtual Console. That is a very good pinball game. I did not buy it on the Wii U Virtual Console, but I remember that game because it has these two tables that seem like there's not that much at first, but then you explore it and there's all these bonus levels, and then there's all this other side shit, and then you can catch like maybe all 300 Pokemon, but at least a couple hundred just from exploring the table and playing all this stuff. And it's a lot like the original Pokemon Pinball in that way, where it seems small at first, but the more you dig into it, the more you see the majesty of its content.
Yeah, I mean that's I went through a little bit of a Game Boy Advance buying spree when they were starting to be removed from GameStops because they like I worked at a GameStop for about 2 months during a holiday season, in which it was like the last holiday season Game Boy Advance games were there, so I used my discount and a lot of deals to get a bunch, and I got Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire Pinball. Did not enjoy it that much, actually. I love Metroid Prime Pinball. Like that's one of my favorite underrated DS games, but for some reason the Pokemon Pinball game just didn't grab me.
Sure. And I can't blame you because it's a weird pinball game because it tries to be like halfway pinball game, halfway almost RPG at the same time, and it's very unconventional. I personally love it, but I can understand why others don't. Bionic Commando on Game Boy Color came out on the 3DS Virtual Console today. Yeah. Some people seem to like it.
I owned it as a kid. I think I still own it, but I haven't played it probably since, I don't know, when did it come out? 1999, like 2001.
Yeah.
And I remember it being a lot of fun. And it holds the distinction of being the first game developed by NST, and maybe the last. I don't know. NST is very quiet these days. I did want to note out, because I was curious when I realized we were getting to the downloads. I looked up the dude who directed Bionic Commando Elite Forces, which it's also worth pointing out that this isn't just a remake of the original. It's a substantially new original game that I will probably be downloading after we're done with this. It looks like the guy who directed this is now the VP of Creative Development at like 2K Games. He also worked on Fable 2, Viva Pinata, and yeah.
Fable 2's the good one, supposedly, I think, right?
I like Fable 2. But then he worked on Fable 3. And the original Fable. He seemed like maybe he was working at, whatchamacallit, Lionhead.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Moby Games. But, yeah. No, this is a cool game. If you like Bionic Commando, I highly recommend checking it out.
And then the other thing of note on the eShop this week is that Shovel Knight on Wii U and 3DS is 33% off until 8:59 a.m.
Buy that
on January 8th. I think that's like $10, both the 3DS
yeah,
and
$10.
Yeah, that's a good price for what I got, like 10 hours out of it at least. And then if you played past the New Game Plus, I could see that going to 15 or even 20.
Yeah, I think I put about 15 into it. I also got really into the Street Pass on Shovel Knight. I think it's some of my favorite Street Pass stuff ever.
Sure.
Also, Unepic is on sale this week, which I know like it was definitely going to get buried under all the Shovel Knight news in that sale because Shovel Knight is obviously very highly regarded. But Unepic is a pretty good Wii U virtual or not virtual console.
Yeah, I remember
Wii U
reading an
game.
IGN review. I didn't really agree with the guy. He seemed like on the take or something.
Yeah, that is another review I wrote, and I was on the take for that hot 7.0 review that I gave it. But it's good. It's definitely like that. Similar to Shovel Knight, it's very much an 8-bit sort of adventure game. Send up, but it's pretty funny. It's not like great. I mean, it has some balance issues, but it's fun. And I think now it's also on sale for like $10. And I'd say it's worth that. It's very challenging. But yeah, it's pretty good. So
excellent.
Cool.
Also, just while we're talking about sales, I did buy an eShop game today. I bought Devil Survivor Overclocked from Atlas because they're doing a holiday sale through January 6th.
It's on sale every other week.
I know, and I've always been watching it. Like I know the new one's coming out.
Same here, actually. Devil Survivor Overclocked is like the one Atlas game on 3DS that I don't own.
And it's
I've always been very intrigued by that series. But I just have a feeling I'd buy it. Like I have stupid Persona Q on my system and I haven't touched it yet.
Yeah, I regretted buying it a little bit because Stealth on Twitter, I was asking him for advice, like, should I get it? I have this $5 eShop credit, and then he sold it pretty well, so I bought it for like $10. And then after I bought it, I asked him how long it was, and he said 40 hours. So I don't know if that's ever happening, but I got that game now.
Yeah.
And then there's a huge Capcom sale that I also recommend everyone check out. I don't know how long it's lasting or even if it's still going on, but there's Street Fighter 4 was like $8, Resident Evil Revelations and Mercenaries 3D, both great games, also $8.
Yeah.
So
I guess we're talking sales just in general. I don't even know if some of the shit's still going on, but I had a little mini 3DS buying spree recently. I got Starship Damray, which we talked about last week. I still haven't played it yet. I also got Moon Chronicles. That was on sale, and the other episodes for Moon Chronicles should be coming out soon. And I got Retro City Rampage DX, which I played the original version of Retro City Rampage and did not get into it, and the DX version blows it out of the water. And that game's way more fun when it's not the original kind of busted version.
Yeah, I think that's still $3 on the eShop. I don't know, maybe it switched on the sales today, but
yeah,
if it's still $3, you should probably get that. It's like 2D retro GTA, so
it's good.
There you go. All right, moving on to news. I feel bad speeding through the actual news portion of Nintendo News Report, but
we'll get back to normal soon enough.
Yeah. In fact, next week I'm gonna go out of my way to make this an all-news show, but it's 15-20 minutes for 2 stories. I think we can do it. Kirby Amiibo. They detailed the Kirby Amiibo and Kirby and the Rainbow Curse. The amiibo for Kirby, King Dedede, and Meta Knight will give you a helping hand in Kirby and the Rainbow Curse. The Kirby amiibo will let you Star Dash at any time. The Dedede one lets you wear a King's hat to get more health, and the Meta Knight one puts his mask on you and improves your attack. Kirby's amiibo is available now, while King Dedede... I should note that I'm just reading Neal's news story.
Yeah, this all sounds very familiar and well written.
Kirby's amiibo is available now, while King Dedede and Meta Knight are coming out alongside the third wave in February. In North America, Meta Knight is a Best Buy exclusive. But the most important thing, and at least the most interesting thing to me in this story, is that Kirby and the Rainbow Curse in Japan will be priced the same as Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, which is like that $40. And then the below trailer confirms the game will have 20 story levels and 40 challenge ones. That's the right price for this game. $40 is the right price for this. No more, no. I love that Nintendo's doing this mid-tier thing now.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that the amiibo support in Kirby and the Rainbow Curse seems really lame. Also, if you want Meta Knight amiibo because you saw that you can wear his mask in Kirby and the Rainbow Curse and you do not already have a Meta Knight amiibo pre-ordered, good fucking luck. You're not getting a Meta Knight amiibo.
You take such evil pleasure in that.
Yeah. I mean, it's just another example of the amiibo thing being a total shitstorm. Because it's like, oh yeah, I think my kid's into Kirby, maybe I'll get into the DDD and the Meta Knight when they come out, so we can use them in the game. And then guess what? No, you already lost, Mom. Like, you're not getting them. Shit's fucked. That's all I'm gonna say.
I wonder how expensive Amiibo's ultimately gonna get if they don't reprint these. Like, is there really never gonna be a Villager shipment ever again? Is there really never gonna be a Marth shipment ever again after how much people are already talking about how highly wanted these figures are? I think they got to do at least one more big run of these.
No, they're going to release them in POG form.
Do you really think that they're not even going to do a second figure run?
I'll be completely honest at this point. I have no effing idea.
Right.
I think the comment from Miyamoto that might have been the closest thing to anyone at Nintendo directly addressing this and not just hopelessly avoiding it. When he made the comment that people will still be able to use those amiibo possibly in card form.
Right.
So it's like, let's say in some hypothetical world where on Animal Crossing Wii U, Villager does something. If you don't have the Villager amiibo, then you might be able to buy a card or something, or maybe a card will come with the game that is able to do the amiibo ability without being a figure. But we'll kind of see. I think at this point that Nintendo likely has several ideas of what they're going to do with Amiibo for the next few years. I would imagine at this point they probably have 2015 Amiibo's plan all mapped out, but I wouldn't be surprised if there were 2 or 3 options that they kind of settled on after seeing what happened with Amiibo in the past 2 months, which is insanity.
Well, they're gonna have to do something like the card system, because really what Amiibo are shaping up to be now versus something like, I guess it's still similar to something like Skylanders, Disney Infinity, but it's just a single game. But kind of what Amiibo is shaping up to be now is it's DLC that you buy once and they can use in a variety of games and possibly in many games to come over the next few years.
Yeah.
So limiting that, having that not available to everyone is a huge mistake. What makes DLC successful is that it's there, anyone can buy it at any time. Well, so you kind of need that card that you need, that needs to be available to everyone, especially in situations like this. This is going to be the first time where we're really, I know you can use everyone in Smash Brothers, but this is going to be the first instance where an Amiibo really not drastically changes the game, but has pretty notable game to everyone than that.
So I think the ultimate future for the Amiibos on Wii U is to ultimately be the e-reader packs, but they're trying that again. I think this was like a test for Smash Bros.
An idea at Nintendo never disappears. It just gets repurposed.
So I think just my imagination, the way this is going, and I actually just talked about this with James and Johnny on the upcoming RFN, which should be coming out relatively soon. But I think the way we're going to do this...
Nonsense. You recorded this before, but it's going to come out after. What?
So the way I think this is going to go is for $4 or $5, depending on how much these actually cost. to produce these chips. I think there's going to be packs of like 5 cards, and then it could be like Villager for Smash Bros., 2 Mario Party cards, a Captain Toad card, and maybe like a Kirby card that's special to this game. And then they're going to be like select like 150 is going to be one of these cards, and then one in 2000, like almost like a baseball pack, is going to be the super rare variant. And that's how they're going to get the collector's the collector's market going, while at the same time making them available to anyone. And if you have only cards available and you don't have cards and figures, no one feels like they're getting the shittier version, because all you have to trade with is cards. So you're already getting the best deal. So I think that's where all this is going. 5 cards, all the games are accounted for, and then they might release figures when there's something with save data comes out.
I don't think that will work. Or else, to be completely honest, then why don't we have Skylanders cards and Disney Infinity cards?
Because I think they know what they're doing way better than Nintendo does right now at this specific thing.
Yeah.
And I think
I guess
exactly how
I guess if you don't have a lot of faith in Nintendo, then yes, they probably will go to cards and also the 1980s. I mean that's my thing with it is, and it's kind of what bothers me about how Nintendo's handling it, is that there's already 2 pretty good blueprints as to how to do this. And yeah, you know what, Skylanders first year, it was really hard to find some of those, but then eventually they printed everything, and then you could pretty easily find those. And the really popular ones that maybe people didn't find, they did reposes of them next year, which, so maybe, Animal Crossing Wii U might be coming out next fall. Maybe there will be a different model of Villager that will do the same thing that he does in Smash Brothers and also have something in Animal Crossing or something along those lines.
Sure.
And with Disney Infinity, like, I actually don't remember if there was any kind of like clusterfuck going on with Disney Infinity figures when it first came out. But even still, like, both Disney Infinity and Skylanders, you look at them in store, I mean, they're pretty well stocked. If you want to find something, it's usually not impossible. So obviously Nintendo got kind of caught with their pants down as far as Marth's, rarity, same with Villager and Wii Fit Trainer and all that jazz. And I hope that they find their footing sometime within the next couple months. You've also, I don't know if you guys have, I'm really deep into following the Amiibo stuff at this point, but there's also apparently some kind of like shipment strike over on the West Coast that's supposedly affecting the Amiibo supply in America, which might be why it's a little worse in America as it is Europe and Japan. But it's a special brand of nonsense going on with the Amiibo right now.
Yeah, it's all completely silly, but still incredibly interesting.
Don't forget, Miyamoto said that they're going to do something cool in Mario Party 10.
You know what? I believe them, and I think that might be cards, but we'll see. I also just want to add very quickly, before we move on to our final story, that Kirby and the Rainbow Curse looks amazing. And especially in that new trailer, it seems like that could be like one of the best looking Wii U games or Nintendo games I've ever seen. The claymation, it's straight up Gumby ass claymation.
It's so gorgeous.
It's and at $40, if they put it out at $40, I'll get that. I'll get the disc version of that. That's all mine, and come next February. Awesome. Lastly, let's talk briefly about this interview Masahiro Sakurai did with Nintendo Dream about Smash Bros. Wii U and 3DS as some kind of like post-mortem almost. And I pulled some choice quotes and notes about things they did in the game. I will read through them quickly. On Greninja, he noted that Greninja, before his name was decided, I received several illustrations. I took them home in the evening, and around midnight I had already done all its actions, normal moves, special moves, and pose pictures, and sent them around asking, what do you think? And what this is super interesting, because if he did this, Greninja has this move called Water Shuriken, and I think it's called Water Shuriken. It's the move where he makes a throwing star, a big old throwing star, out of water. And I wonder if his idea for the move in Smash Bros. Ended up inspiring the move in Pokemon X and Y, which was a new move in that game as well. So that's super interesting to me. And then Nintendo Dream commented, that's incredible speed, just doing it in one night. By the way, when deciding on which characters to use, are you looking into unreleased new games? At the very beginning I did that. And then I just want to note, this time our project proposal is dated May 2012. At that time, all characters were decided already. So a few months after Kid Icarus came out, Sakurai already knew all 51 fighters that were going to be in the game. And
That's crazy.
yeah, and he also noted that Bowser Jr. was on the brink of being cut, but made it when staff put their heads together and made it happen. Who, by the way, is one of the most inventive characters in that game.
Yeah, and maybe, I mean, he doesn't really go into detail as far as I know from the interview. I mean, maybe part of the reason why it got held up is because they had the idea to do the color variants be all the different Koopalings.
Right.
But I mean, it is nice to see that, like, he was like, we're gonna have to cut this, and everyone's like, no. It's like that one bold female designer who made the Zero Suit Samus in the bikini. That one brave female designer also saved Bowser Jr. perhaps.
And actually, now that you're talking about the alts, he was talking about that for the Return of Dr. Mario. How when he was originally doing Mario, he originally planned Dr. Mario as like one of Mario's costume alts, but because he knew how much people liked Dr. Mario's alt costumes, including his personal favorite and my personal favorite, the one where it's Dr. Mario in black and he looks like a back alley doctor.
Dude, I used to play as the Black Doctor all the time.
And
my jam in Melee.
And so he put characters like him and Dark Pit in the game, it seems, just because it seemed like making them a character like color wasn't enough. Though at the same time, this also meant that characters like Wolf weren't even good enough to be a clone this time around.
I mean, to be fair, I guess with Wolf, like, you can kind of alter Fox's moves to make it very close to Wolf.
Yeah.
And then you even have the Wolf outfit, with the alternate special abilities.
Sure. Although I really think that they could have made Wolf a Fox alt if they wanted to. But that's
they do. They're like there is a costume. There is an alternate Fox costume that looks a lot like Wolf.
Right. And then most interesting is he talked about Duck Hunt's inclusion, and he made a lot of interesting points when he was talking about Duck Hunt. And just when they were asking, like, why Duck Hunt, as Sakurai said, try to have a look at sales numbers. It might be the most sold shooting game in the world, and that's obviously because it was sold with the NES outside of Japan. But if you look up the worldwide numbers, you come up with a huge number of games sold. So he tried to create a character that he thought would be appropriate. He thought it would be appropriate to include a character based on Duck Hunt. And it wasn't always a candidate. It seemed like it just made sense now. But it was fun to do Duck Hunt and a shooting style presentation. He said, like, having a third person intervening in the action, being able to say it's actually a trio, having the duck, the dog, and having someone shoot off the screen, that was super fun. And he said that's how he finalized it during the development of the concept, saying that's how we can make it work, by making it actually a trio and not just the dog. So that's all super cool. And it's so interesting to see how these games get made. Almost in the same way that I want a Pokemon Historia. If they did a Smash Historia, just with all this information, and yeah, like include Kid Icarus too. Just all of his games.
Well, or maybe the period where he straight up left the company. Like, really, I want someone to do a biography on Sakurai, because, you can go through his kind of bland early years where he just did Kirby for a decade. Not that those games aren't bad, but, like, that's all he did. And then, like, that weird demo that led to Smash Brothers, then him getting really fed up and leaving in, like, after Kirby Air Ride, and then him being brought back by his buddy, Iwata, who's now president of the company. Like, screw the Console Wars movie. I want to see this be a movie.
Right, and he was talking about all this weird stuff, how he had a really odd role with Smash Bros. Brawl, this game, and Kid Icarus, because those games were basically made by this weird mishmash of people pulled from all these different places.
Yeah.
And he was talking about Bandai Namco, how he chose them specifically because he didn't want to do that anymore.
Yeah.
And he wanted the one company who would be able to handle a huge fighting game like Smash Bros.
Yeah, and I think he made the right decision, because with Brawl, like, what was it, like, HAL Labs helped out, Game Arts helped develop it. I think there was at least, like, 5 companies that worked on that. And with Kid Icarus, it was just a kind of this weird super team that was, Project Sora, I think, was because his company's Sora, and then Project Sora was the specific team assembled for Kid Icarus Uprising. I'm also curious to see whatever he does next. Like, I'm fascinated by the man. He's one of my favorite developers.
I hope he makes like a small like eShop game, just like by himself, like
Yeah.
like what Miyamoto always wanted to do, or what he's kind of doing with Robot and Guard. It's like I want Sakurai to try that, but like with a new platformer and like a new character. I feel like he's at the tier where he could try doing that now. He's one of those guys. But I hear crying babies, so that means that is a signal that we should end our show.
We lost to Scott.
Thank you for watching this installment of Nintendo News Report, and be sure to tell us everything you liked and disliked in the comments because we want to give you the best show possible. I would like to thank Neal and Scott for joining me. Neal can be found on Twitter at Enron10 and Scott at OKSoda. And by the way, that's spelled NRON, the number 10, and at OK in the word soda, and I can be found at CULAFIA. That'll be all.
All right,
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.